Today we're making Philly cheesesteak bowls. It's one of those dishes that comes together nice and quick. It stores and reheats really well, and of course it tastes fantastic. And there's so many different things you can add to this to make it your own, change up the flavor profile and do what you need to do. We'll start out with a brown or yellow onion. I'm using 2 because these ones are really small, but if you have a large one, just use 1. Take off the tip, slice it in half straight through the root and then peel it. Make thin slices, just stopping at that root. This is going to hold the onion intact, and then you can do that horizontal slice if you like to do it. Just breaks up that formation a little bit more, and then go through and dice this into small pieces, making sure that you trim off any excess flesh from around that root, just so we have no wastage. Should have something that looks like this. Next is 2 bell peppers or capsicums, and you can use any color choice that you like. Stand these up and then just slice around that core, removing any excess seed and pith, and then go through and slice these into thin strips. You can leave them as strips, or you can stack them up, rotate, and then dice these into small pieces, which is what I'm going to do for this recipe. I think it just looks better, especially what we're doing to this exact recipe. Then once you have this done, this can be mixed with the onion as it's going into the pan at the same time. Next, we can use the side of our knife just to crush 5 cloves of garlic. This will just break down that flavor compound, and then we can go through and finely mince these up. Doesn't have to be too fine or even too perfect, but just make sure that it is nice and small. You can go through and add a little bit of sea salt flakes here as well to act as an abrasive to help break it down, but choice is all yours. What we're looking for is something that looks like that. An optional ingredient is some flat leaf parsley. There's no weight, just enough as however much you like, really. You can just go through and roughly chop, just make sure that there's no large leaves or stems. And it's going to be used as a garnish, that's why it's optional. So if you don't have it, don't really have to go out your way and buy a whole bunch just to use a small amount. Last but not least, we need 75 grams or 2.6 ounces of mozzarella cheese, and you can use light variations if you'd like to. I'm just going to grate this on the larger side of a box grater. Some mozzarella can be really soft, so if that is the case, just try your best. If not, worst case scenario, you can buy the store-bought stuff, but it does have an anti-caking agent on it, and in dishes like this, it can ruin the sauce, clump it up, and even potentially split. So if you can find a firmer mozzarella, definitely go with that. Now bring a large pot of water up to a boil, and then we can generously season it with salt. Doesn't need to be ocean water though, and I'm going to add in 400 grams or 14 ounces of any pasta of your choice. So I'm using shells for this one. You can also use macaroni or even penne. Give this a mix around just to prevent anything from clumping. We're going to cook this for 2 minutes, less than the packet instructions, and before draining, just scoop out and reserve about a cup's worth of that pasta water. Now for the rest of the dish, place another large high-rimmed pan over a medium-high heat. Get the pan nice and hot. You can use regular oil, or I'm going to be using olive oil spray oil just to cut the calories, and we're going to add a little bit to the bottom of the pan. If you are using regular oil, I don't recommend any more than 1 tablespoon. And then we can get in our onions and bell peppers. Add in a touch of salt. This is just going to help sweat these down. Add in about 10 cracks worth of black pepper. And all we're going to do is saute this for about 5 to 6 minutes, just until those onions are translucent and soft, and those bell peppers have started to soften down as well. And I like to keep these mixed around regularly, that way we don't get too much color on them, but the flavor starts developing in the pan. Now after about 6 minutes, those veggies are nice and soft. We can introduce that garlic, and we're going to cook this for about 30 seconds just to get this nice and fragrant. Keep mixing it around regularly, that way nothing will burn. Next, we can introduce our beef mince. This is 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds. Just spread it out and let it sit for a couple of minutes to build a crust. While it's doing what it's doing, we can also season it with a little bit of salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper, about 10 cracks worth again, 1.5 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and roughly half a teaspoon of dry chili flakes. You can add more, or you don't even have to add it at all. As you can see, I've moved the veggies off to one side just so we can get that crust, but just keep mixing this around just to make sure nothing is burning. After a couple of minutes, break this up, mix everything together with that nice crust all over the beef. We can just keep repeating this, and we're going to cook it for a total of about 6 to 8 minutes, just until it's no longer pink. Any moisture that's come out of the beef as well has also been evaporated. So once this is all browned off, most of that moisture has evaporated, and you've got a really nice color on the beef. Just turn the pan down to the lowest setting possible, and then knock a little bit of the heat out of this. And I recommend letting it sit for a couple of minutes, because we're going to add cheese next. We don't want it to stick. We don't want it to go grainy or clumpy. We just want it to melt smoothly into all of this beef. Once that's done, a little bit of the heat has come out, and like I said, this is over the lowest setting possible. We're going to add in 180 grams or 6.3 ounces of cream cheese, or light cream cheese. Just gently break this up and slowly fold it through the beef, and you can use the pasta water here to adjust and just create that really nice saucy texture. It will clump up right at the beginning, but just keep mixing it around, breaking it up with the back of the spoon or pushing it down with the spatula, and everything will eventually fold together. Like I said, we can also adjust with a little bit of that pasta water just to get this nice and saucy. When everything is lightly coated in that cream cheese, we can add in our mozzarella that we grated at the beginning. I've kept this in the fridge just so it doesn't all clump up. And I'm also going to add in 5 slices of cheese. This is cheddar cheese, and you can either use light or just normal variants. Choice is all yours. All we have to do now is, again, fold everything together until all of that cheese has melted. Just keep mixing it around. It does take a little bit of time. If the pan does feel a bit too cold, just slightly turn it up, just so everything can melt properly. Once you have everything melted, you have this nice stringy concoction that looks like this. We'll just keep adjusting with that pasta water until you have a really nice saucy sauce. Once that's done, add in all of that drained pasta. And again, just fold everything all together and adjust with that pasta water again. The last thing to do is just go through and make sure any adjustments have been made with seasoning, adding a little bit more salt and pepper if you'd like to. Once that's done, you have something that looks like this. We can remove it from the stovetop. Now with this, you can weigh the total amount and then divide it evenly by 5, or you can just go by eye, which is what I always do. And the container sizes that I'm using are 750 milliliters, and I have a link for the containers in the description below. All we need to do is go through with that remaining parsley that we saved off for the end and just sprinkle that over the top. If of course you're using it, just adds that nice pop of color and freshness. Once you have them portioned up, let them cool down for about 15 to 20 minutes. Place on the lids. These will go in the fridge for up to 4 days and in the freezer for up to 4 months. If you have them frozen, just allow them to thaw overnight in the fridge before trying to reheat. And your best bet's going to be a microwave. And I do recommend adding a touch of water, stock, or even some milk just to rehydrate them. So with all said and done, there's one thing left to do, and that is we can then dig in. For how simple it is, that is absolutely perfect.